Good morning. My name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting an update from Kuya Silver, which trades on the CSE under the symbol KUYA. Joining me today, we have President and CEO David Stein. David, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And as a general introduction to Kuya Silver, for some of our listeners that may not know the story, could you give us a brief overview of the company and your flagship Bethania silver project in Peru?
Sure. So we've been involved with Bethania for about 5 years now. We acquired 100% of it 2 years ago in 2020. It's a recent past-producing silver mine in central Peru that was mining this high-grade silver polymetallic ore and having it toll milled at other nearby mills, as I said, up until 2016. So we've really, since getting involved in the project, we've been able to permit a new mill. We've done exploration and been able to announce a maiden resource there. We've actually made new discoveries since the resource was announced. And as well, we've consolidated a huge area around the original mining concession that gives us a lot more long-term growth. So we really, kind of fell in love with the both the mining and the exploration potential of Bethania. And then so over the past year or 2 years, we've really made a big effort to acquire a lot more land around the mine, because we know that there's going to be a lot more to this story regionally in the district than just what we see at the mine property itself.
And this week on the show, I'd like to discuss the Carmelitas Prospect within the Bethania district, which you acquired last year and are now looking to start some work on the project. For those new to this area of Bethania, could you introduce this prospect to our listeners?
Sure. So starting on this map here, the Bethania mine is located right there on this pink concession. That's our permitted mining concession. And then Carmelita is over here. So it is only 3 kilometers away. It's in very similar geology. It's got veins that are outcropping right at surface. So it bears a lot of similarities to Bethania, which is really why we were very interested to acquire it. And we, as you mentioned, we did strike a deal last year. We put out an update on it this recently. And we're very, very excited to get in there and start doing some work soon.
And last year you completed some early sampling and mapping on this prospect. Can you run us through some of the results and perhaps the targets you'll be following up on in your next phase of exploration?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, just to start off, so this was a mine that was actually producing smaller tonnages up until 2020, the previous operators. So when we kind of went in to do our due diligence and look at it, we found that they had developed adits in 4 locations on 3 different veins, and you can kind of see them here. This is looking at the side of the hill, as if you're taking the photo from the valley, and you can see, and maybe I'll note it here. There's an adit. There's an adit here, so 2 adits on the Esperanza vein. This is a different Victoria vein than the one that we have on Bethania, so don't get confused. But there's an adit there and another one on Poso over here. Definitely some development here, which is pretty interesting. And so what we did then was we went and did some sampling of the veins that outcropped at surface. And you can see some of the highlighted results here. We only took 6 samples to start off with, but we were able to get some really nice high grades just with the quick sampling program that we did before we bought the mine last year. And you can see up to just under 16 ounces per ton silver. That's on the Victoria vein. And with very high lead zinc. So that reminds us a lot of Bethania. The other ones have, these are outstanding surface samples as well. And then even the even the ones that are not on this chart still had anomalous, in one case over 1% zinc, in another case almost an ounce silver. So even the lower grade ones look very, very interesting to us in terms of, suggesting that there's some mineralization there. And these high grade vein systems, you could definitely have your richer zone at depth along strike. You don't know until you do more exploration work. So that's the next task for us here, is to really, now that we know where some of the veins are at surface, is to really go and figure out, where the sweet spots are, where the thicker zones are, where they might be higher grade, what they could be doing at depth. And that'll be part of our next exploration program.
And this target is 3 kilometers west of your Bethania project. From a geological perspective, is there a possibility of this being a part of one larger system, or is this more likely a second mineralized system within the Bethania district?
So here's kind of a zoom in of the where the Bethania mine's located and the Carmelita project. Interestingly, the vein orientation is similar. It's in fact, it's almost exactly the same direction as our main veins in Bethania. So does that mean it could be part of the same vein system? Maybe. However, they are pretty far apart. So I think what is more likely is just that it's a second zone. It's a second mineral deposit that's related to bigger regional structures that are very conducive to hosting these epithermal precious metal deposit systems. So I think that's our thinking right now. But obviously, we'll go in and do some exploration and figure out what's going on.
And before I wrap things up, are there any other slides you want to take us through?
Well, look, I think, just sticking on this slide for a second, I think we've picked up a lot of land in this, in this Bethania area. And, you can see where all these red stars are, besides Carmelita. There's another actually gold mine to the north. It's not part of our land, but it just tells you that there is a lot of there's a lot of epithermal precious metal mineralization in this area. This is a sort of a 10 kilometer by 5 kilometer area, and I think that's why there's been a lot more interest in it lately. Over the past few years, we've had majors in there doing exploration programs, and majors competing with us for staking claims in the area. And so there does seem to be a lot of interest now in the Bethania area. It was a pretty sleepy district 5 years ago when we got involved, but it's sort of starting to heat up here, and that makes it competitive, but also very exciting.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for your time today, David. We will be watching Kuya Silver closely and look forward to having you back on very soon.
My pleasure. Anytime. Thanks.